Hello and welcome to this Project in a Box video tour. This session we're going to have a look through the new version of Personal Edition, that's version 3.1. So let's start with a couple of slides. So Personal Edition is providing you with methodology, tools, reporting, assurance, all that sort of thing. It very much starts from the idea of the method that you use for your project. You have a method template, it creates the processes and documentation and reporting setup that you need for a project of that type. The method templates that are provided as standard are our generic project management methods, 1, 3, 4, 5 step, also the Prince2 resource pack, DSDM a turn, and PPP, our proposal preparation process method. There's also other methods you can add on, like the full official Prince2 licensed product and MSP licensed product as well. So you can create those projects. You can also customize them with Personal Edition. So you can take the method manager tool that's provided as part of the package and either customize the methods to match your own particular requirements, changing the templates and processes, etc., or put in a completely bespoke method to your design. We then wrap that methodology with capability, so the files and templates that are included in the methods will provide you with functionality for assembling data for reporting, in particular the tasks, risks and issue collection, cost collection via the planner tool, which is available to be fed out into your reporting, and also finances, spreadsheets and things of that type. And so we have production reporting. We also have a portfolio capability in Personal Edition, allowing you to group together the projects into a particular portfolio, and then you can report across that portfolio where it adds up the data from that set of projects to produce a total. Now, Personal Edition can also be run very much like Community Edition as a portable application if required. So traditionally, the normal installer will put it onto, will install its program files and put a desktop shortcut on, etc. But you can turn in your options, turn it what we call portable. That creates copies of everything into one folder location, which you can then place onto a USB stick or some other sort of device. And that then is run by simply plugging that device into a PC and opening the client that you have on that device. So you can then take on a USB stick your software and all your working files and materials with you from machine to machine, and that's very popular for contractors going into customer sites and wanting to take a tool to manage their projects. It also supports language, so you can personalize the language if you want to. There's a number of language files provided, or part language files provided, and you can customize these again using the provided translation tool if you would like to. So here we are on my desktop, and here's my shortcut, the orange shortcut here for Personal Edition. And when that opens up, we've got a little getting started screen here. Allows me to open an existing project, create a new one, or access the help. So let's open an existing project, and here we've got our portfolio and project picker. In this case I've got all projects selected, which is the default, and therefore in the bottom of my list here I've got all the projects. The standard system will create a number of example projects, one of each type, for you, and you can then create additional projects if you want to, which I've done in this particular case. You can also group your projects together into portfolios. So when we click on example projects, it's just got the example projects, and that's something I've set up just by picking the projects from a list, which ones do I want in each particular portfolio. So let's go away and open one of our projects up to have a look at it. So I'm going to pick this 3 here, which is a 3-step project. And the fundamental idea of Personal Edition is just like Community Edition, in fact, and all of our other navigation of methodology tools, where we simply point and click our way through the process. So when the cursor changes like this at project concept, I can click on it and it will show me all the documentation associated with the project concept. So in this case I've just got a project mandate document, and I've got a project mandate template within that. I can simply double click on the file to open and view it, and we've got our standard Project in a Box template here for a mandate. not provided with any document properties yet, and as I come and check that file out, it's going to update the properties from the property list held centrally on the project. And so we can see it's put the name of the project in, which is 3 in this particular case. And as we go back and fill in the properties for the rest of this part of the project, it will then, next time the file gets checked out, pop those in as well. So when we put in a customer and a project sponsor and those sort of things, they'll go into later versions of the project files. So it's pretty straightforward. I can work on here and put some content into my template, anything that I'm interested in writing in, and then I can simply save and close it. And then if I want to check it back in, I can. I can also continue to work on it. It'll be here in my checkout folder in this little link here, but I'm going to check it back in at this point. Again, I could give some sort of description if I want to. Press OK, and that file's in there, and it's automatically versioning that for me here. And if I was approving particular versions, it would store those here as well, and baselines, etc. So pretty straightforward to do. Adding new content to this is also straightforward. It's just a simple drag and drop exercise. I can drag my file that I'm interested in into here, and it's going to put it into the current document. So if I want to give it a rename or put a description in again, I could do that here. And we've then got our file included in the area, and that's now available for checking out and working on in exactly the same way. So we can do that with other things as well. We can drag and drop emails, in fact any other sort of file we're interested in, and we'll have that then built up as part of this document. Now, associated with the files in Personal Edition, we can also do some other things. We can store file notes for them, which are then searchable using the search field here. So it'll search the file names and the notes associated with them, so you can put in some to-dos and reminders, etc., and then look across the entire set of documents in that project for text references in your file notes. We can also send things in and out by emails. So if I want to send some content here out, I can use these email buttons. The context of the location shows me something about it, so if I use here, we've got check out to email. Rather than checking out locally to work on, it's going to check the file out, attach it to the email message, and send it to the recipient. Here's going to give me email a copy, so it's like a view copy of the current version of the file. Here's going to send me the document, so it's going to send both of these files, latest versions, and down here, once I select a particular version, I can email a version of that file as well. And that will pick up whatever we've got in our current email settings for Personal Edition. In my case, it's using Outlook here, so once I've switched on my Outlook profile, it'll package that up, put the file on to an email message for me, and I can then add my recipients to that if I wanted to actually make the send complete. So pretty straightforward sort of thing to do. You will need to set up a profile though to work with email like that, and so in options here under my email I've got the different profiles. So I've got an Outlook profile, that's my default, and I can choose other profiles in here that I can set up to pick up an SMTP profile, for example, that I might have available to me rather than sending out of the local Outlook. I can also put in some standard email text as well that's going to go into the message that's compiled for me. So all that's pretty sort of straightforward. As we come down and click on our start process here, we see that it again shows us our project mandate with that material we've been accumulating, and we've now got all the other documents to work on. And this is all set up within the standard way of doing a method template, so we can see the material that's appropriate for each particular process as we go through. And when we created the project, it would have also set up other aspects of the method template, such as numbering and naming conventions for the files, so we can see that this project is using just a simple numbering arrangement, and it will have also set up for me which files are going to be used for particular aspects of the reporting. And we can see all that here in project and project summary information. So this is where we can start to fill in our properties, the things that are going to feed out to our document properties and be used in reporting. So I can simply come in here and put a job number in my project and give it a description if I wanted to, and commentary and status, etc., like that. And I've got extended properties which also come from the method template, so these are available for you to customize yourself if you want to, that we can add in here. So I could come and put in here the business area as HR, like that. Pretty straightforward sort of thing to do. As I come to these other areas here, we can see that this is how it's set up, where the data is being collected from. So when we created this project, the system will have automatically said it's going to use these two files for collecting risks and issues. In practice, it's exactly the same file. This file for finance information, and also this plan. Now you can have multiple plans here if you wanted to. You can obviously change this list, you can add extra things in, as we could have done with the logs as well actually. And in particular, as we can do in this spreadsheets area. So the method template set up these additional sources of spreadsheet content that it holds automatically for this project, and that are going to be used in reporting. So we're going to bring some images out of our finances sheet, and we're going to bring some tables of data out of project status reporting and highlight report, and the table of data out of project finances as well. So this is all set up automatically. I can of course change this, so I can add extra things in, or I can take some things out, or I could disable some of the things like that. So sort of thing the project manager does at setup, and then periodically we'll go in and update things like commentaries. And that means we've then very quickly got some data available to use in reporting. Of course, I might start going and working on my plans and the like out of here, to put in information that I actually want to appear in my reports. But we can go and run a report straight away. So let's go and do that from here. We'll look at project report. And this allows me to switch on and off the elements I want to include. If we've got multiple stages for the project, and in fact this 3-step project doesn't use any stages, so there is no stage information showing here, but we may have stages on our 4 and 5-step or the SDM turn type projects. We could have switched those on. We're going to put in some plan information, and we can choose what sort of information we want to include, how many levels of outline. Now every plan that we deal with, Microsoft Project Planner, Excel templates, will use an outline level. 0 is always the entire project summary chart, summary bar. Level 1 will be any first level of indent, and level 2 any second level of indent, etc. So we can set the display characteristics for both the Gantt chart and the task list here, and we can also decide on the colouring we want to use, which I've done here. And this will be remembered for me. It's going to update the report, produce the report based on whatever I had set in here the last time I ran this. Same sort of thing for risks and issues. I can put some settings in about how I want to narrow the data. Do I want to include everything, or do I want to refine my selection? So that's for the risks, and issues are exactly the same sort of arrangement. In this case I haven't refined the selection, so I'm going to show all issues, and I can choose the ordering and things of that type. Other data here will allow me to pick additional items, so I'm going to include some finance information, the standard block of things, and my custom spreadsheets, and some report images, etc., as required, as set up in the summary information form. And then finally I can choose here how I'm going to present that output. I've got a couple of different styles here. I've got a default report style and a poster report style. So let's have a look at the default one first. And this is going to assemble all that data using that final report template, which inserts a standard logo and puts all my properties in, so we can see HR, job number, etc. we've been filling in here. I've got no images for this project. I do have some risk information. It's bringing me back whatever it's got in the risk register, like that, which is looking pretty blank. Issues, I've got an issue there. Finance log, it's bringing me back whatever's currently in that spreadsheet, and then the same for the custom spreadsheet things, so the images from the finance sheet and my project status reporting and my highlights, etc. And I've got my plan at the bottom here shown as set up. So that's my report. It's produced it into Word, which is again an option in the settings. You can use produce to Word or straight to browser as HTML, and I can then edit this if I want to, and I could then save it, print it, PDF it, etc. Now if I wanted to run a different report, I could produce this as a poster like that, and that's going to produce into a completely different sort of style and layout of report. It's brought finances nicely up to the front, and in fact if we just zoom this in a little bit, we can see we've got a sort of simplified properties view. Any images will appearing here, and then we've got a nice and simple view of plans, risks and issues, not with all the matrix analysis, etc., just the simple chart and list. And then at the bottom I've got my custom spreadsheet content, whatever that might be, set up for this project. And that's giving me a nice simple report layout that I could give perhaps to the sponsor, whereas the default one I might use with the project team when I want all the detail to hand. And these report setups, as I say, it remembers exactly what you ran in this project report the last time you ran it. So if I go and look at a different project, so I'm going to open a new project, an existing project here. Let's go and look at this Office Move one. Now this is a different method template. It's got some different content in it. In fact, it's got a substantially different structure in that it's got multiple stages or work packages of activity within here, but it uses inherently the same sorts of data files for collecting risks and issues, and the method template's been set up into the project so that it's got information about the different logs, or from the different logs and spreadsheets and plans, etc., in broadly the same way. Now in this particular project it's gone a bit further, and the project manager has switched some other things off and added some extra things in. So we've got a moving list they've manually added, moved to the top of the list so that appears, and we've switched off the finance chart images, etc. So we've rejigged this around a little bit. In report images here we've also listed an image we want to include in the reporting, and in fact that'll just be an image held in the project documentation set. As we can see down here, we've in fact got two, and we're just showing one in this particular report. So when I come here and run the project report, we can see it's the same structure of report, but actually it's got some different content in it. It's got content specific to this particular project. It's got the image, and it's got a different sort of set of status information. Definitely the plan, risks and issues are different because there's much more content here. And in fact when we come down and look at our custom spreadsheet area, we can see it's including the things we've asked it to include. So it's got my table and chart from my moving information. So customized to match the needs of each particular project, and that's very important that you can personalize, but also you can get the standard elements included as well. And of course that's the same as you're going through the range of different methods. Some things will have some methods will include some things as standard and not others. So for example, the one-step method for very light things below a project doesn't bother with project status reporting. It doesn't have a separate finances form, etc. It's got a nice simple set of documentation. As you go up to the more complex methods, of course, they have more templates and more documentation, more information collected for use in reporting. I'm not going to go through all of those. Here there's a separate methodology tour which takes you through the standard method templates and what they provide. What we are going to have a quick look at though before we finish is portfolios. So we can create a portfolio using manage portfolios here, and I'm going to put a new one in which I'm going to call test. So make that a new portfolio like that, and then I can decide which projects I want to have in it. So let's have the ones that we're familiar with already. So we'll come and grab these two we've just been looking at, like that. And in fact, what I'm going to do is go and create a brand new project as well. We'll put that in and then we'll include that in the portfolio. So let's come to new project, and here we can create our new project from the method template list. So these are the standard list of method templates available on this particular version. This one's been extended to include the full Prince2 method template, but I'm going to pick one we've not looked at yet, which is the 5-step. So let's give it a name and create project, and that's going to set all that material up from the method template. That will now be appearing in the standard project list. So when I come back to manage portfolios and my test one here, I can now include that test project in there as well. So now when I come back to pick my projects, I've got an additional grouping available, this test portfolio, and I can come in here and pick one of the existing projects from within here or the test one itself. And well, here we can see we've got our other 5-step project, and it will have set up everything in the same way as it had done with the other projects, and we're then able to go away and run reporting in a slightly different sort of way. We can run reports now at what we call a portfolio level, and this will allow me to group together the data coming from these projects if we want to. For the moment we'll just pick 2 because we can narrow this down, and again, exactly the same sort of idea as before. We can come and switch through what we want. So here I'm just going to bring the top level summary line back from each project. So we get one line about the project. We'll have all the risks, all the issues, those other bits of standard data, and we'll run this into a poster report style. There we go. So that's what we've got brought back for us. Let's just zoom that in a little bit again. Okay, so here's my report into Word again. I've got my portfolio summary information again. I can type that in the same way as I did with each project, with a description and commentary of this portfolio. And if we think of this as a collection of projects we're doing for a particular customer or audience, this is a nice rounded way of demonstrating the reporting across that group of projects. We've got our 2 project plans here. We can see the top level summary tasks out of each one. Of course, we could have asked for more detail than that. I've got my portfolio status reporting information brought out here across the 2 projects. Both of them have this template as a spreadsheet, and out of both of them it brings the data and merges them together. If we had 3 projects, we'd get 3 rows. I've got my risks and issues and finances here grouped together, so I can see in terms of the issues, I've got it 4 different issues, 5 issues, 4 coming from one project, 1 coming from another. In terms of my risks, that's likely to be broadly the same. 2, most of them are coming from one project, and 1 is coming from another. And it's ordered this by whatever category I've asked to order it by, and it's combined them together into the chart. Finances here, we're bringing this again from 2 projects. This is data coming out of Excel, but it's again merging that together, but it's merging it together in what we call a combine mode, where it's giving me one table which is the same output shape as the tables that it brought in. It's just totaling that data in some way. So we've got a count running here and an add type total running in many of these other cells here. So that's my portfolio report. I could of course run this across 100 projects if I wanted to, and bring that data together for the required audience. So using a portfolio to group our projects together helps us with navigation, and it also helps us to be able to communicate that information to people nice and easily. So that's really quite a quick run through Personal Edition. And it's a pretty straightforward tool to use. If you're familiar with Community Edition already, it gives you Community Edition plus you can start to do many more things: reporting, email integration, customizing the methods, etc. And that really starts to enable you to use it in a properly professional manner. So hopefully you found that interesting. Personal Edition can be purchased directly from our website. We simply send you an email with your account details, you log in and download the installer and your license key. So it's pretty straightforward to do, and that's why we've sold several thousand of these to lone project managers who find it a very helpful tool to support delivering their projects professionally. Thank you very much.